Yeah, this is just a response to MassiveRD. He had a question, what's your favourite? Now, okay, I gotta localise this, right, because I'm based in Ireland, so Genesis was the band with Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel for us. Megadrive is the Sega 16-bit machine. So, favourite Megadrive game and least favourite game, and favourite Super Nintendo game and least favourite Super Nintendo game. On the Megadrive, there wasn't really much of a contest because I'm a big Sega fan if you've ever seen my channel, but there's one game I love in particular. It's this Starflight. This is actually I had to make my own little reproduction copy of the box for this because I got an unboxed copy. I sacrificed a copy of NHL Hockey, but it is probably my favourite game. It's kind of a space RPG. It was a PC game originally, and you basically, get to create your crew. You have to resist the urge to name everyone after Star Trek characters, and name your ship, and then fly around, and you can trade. It's a bit like a 2D version of Elite. You can trade, you can be a kind of pirate, but to be honest, the main way of making money is mining, and it's kind of a love or hate thing, because it's just if you, I love basically when you fly down, you'd explore on the planet, you might find some artifacts or whatever, you might find some creatures to take back, and then you basically mine for various different things, and then take the stuff you mined and then trade it, and then use that to upgrade your ship. There's kind of a mystery thing going on as to, it's like a very basic version of Mass Effect, I suppose, as to something that's going to basically destroy the universe. So, yeah, it was always a big favourite of mine. It's the Mega Drive version, or Genesis if you're an American. The Mega Drive version is kind of like a deluxe version of that was Starflight and Starflight 2 on the PC, and it's kind of like the best of both of those combined with slightly better graphics and pretty good control system. So on the Mega Drive / Genesis, that'd be my favourite game. On the Super Nintendo, you see, here's the thing, everyone that's going to respond, they're going to go, oh, Zelda, or Super Mario Brothers, or whatever. Bizarrely enough, my favourite, it is an RPG, but not Zelda, not any of the Final Fantasies, not Earthbound, not anything. This, Shadowrun. This is a Mega Drive, again, Genesis, Mega Drive, Genesis. It's a Mega Drive version, and the Mega Drive version is pretty truer to the Shadowrun games are kind of an alternate take on Dungeons and Dragons. Sort of a cross between kind of cyberpunk and Middle-earth role-playing. That you get lots of orcs, elves, dwarves, that kind of thing, but it's real kind of William Gibson kind of futuristic, neuromancer kind of thing. But the Super Nintendo version, and actually this is the US one. I always buy weird versions of things. This is a friend of mine gave me this for my birthday a couple of years ago because he knew I was a huge fan of this game. So I have to have a huge kind of adapter thing to put in to get around the region locks on my Super Nintendo. But anyway, it's just there's a really good storyline to it. You build up a little party. You go around again uncovering kind of mystery. You wake up on a slab in a mortuary and scare the crap out of the two mortuary attendants that are there who refuse for the rest of the game to come out of the closet, the cupboard they're in rather. But you basically discover you're a shaman and all this, and you basically have to retrace your identity and work out what happened. But it's just a very, very good game. As I said, the Mega Drive one is pretty closer. It's more open kind of ended, and it's closer to the pen and paper kind of RPG. And there's a Sega CD version which is Japanese only, which I'd love to try out if I ever learn Japanese. But and then there was we don't even talk about the Xbox / PlayStation debacle that Microsoft made when they bought it. The company. Anyway, getting way distracted here. Yeah. Anyway, Shadowrun. Now, I was trying to pick what the least favourite kind of Mega Drive or Super Nintendo game is. I had a good think about this, and I mean, I could go down the route. Edit1138 is another great response to this question. Had basically said the Madden's games, because for US people, they'd be, just released every year and it's the same old thing. If not the sports games, it's no good. And I thought about FIFA, FIFA football, because it's just it'd be our closest equivalent to it here. They're one released every year. Unless you're really into the sport, there's not a massive difference between them most years. And the first one, the Mega Drive, was fun, but the rest are boring. For me anyway. But no, it's too easy. I mean, I'm not really into sports, so it's a bit of a cheat picking a sports game. And I thought briefly about friends of mine were obsessed with a game called Buck Rogers' Countdown to Doomsday on the Mega Drive again, and I wasn't really into it. I remember literally having to sit there and watch them play it while I was over in their house. But again, Sorry, bad cold. Again, it's actually a good game. I just didn't get into it. So at the end, the game that disappointed me most, which is probably the best way of doing this, is Fatal Fury on the Meg. And I went out, I was shelled out, I think it was about £40 for it back when I had a part-time job and I was a teenager, and I thought it was going to be brilliant. And I just hated it. I couldn't do a single move, and no matter how much I practiced, all the opponents, even on the easiest level, just beat the crap out of me. They're just so cheap. And I've never disliked a game as much as I have Fatal Fury, to the point where I did something I don't normally do, and brought it back to the shop and basically said, oh, it was an unwanted present, can I get a credit note? And I got that, and I can't remember, I got 2 games, I forget which they were. Fatal Labyrinth was one, and I forget what the other one was, but I actually love Fatal Labyrinth, so, you know, I've got that out of it. On the Super Nintendo, you see, back then, I didn't really have a Super Nintendo, so I've collected the odd game for it. I'm not really much of a collector, so it's hard to pick. I know this is kind of weird for a gamer to say, but I'm not a huge fan of the Super Mario Brothers games. I know they're great games. It's just I don't love them the way other people do. But again, I'm not going to pick them because I know they're good games. Probably the best thing, the game that disappointed me most on the Super Nintendo would be Mortal Kombat, on the grounds that just Nintendo did their usual trick and basically said, oh, we're kiddie family friendly, even though this is a bloody gory game and everyone's buying it for the blood and the gore, we're going to strip all that out. And I think it was just if you punched someone, sweat came out and there'd no fatalities, and it's pointless really, you know. So that was probably the biggest disappointment. Just actually to do one side answer as well, on the NES, the Famicom, whatever you want to call it, favourite game and least favourite game for me, they're kind of 2 different things. Sorry, they're two of the same things. My least favourite game is Tetris. There's a reason for this. BPS, the company that made it, I think it was like Hank Williams was involved with them, was very heavily involved in Nintendo, and Nintendo loved him and he loved them back, and it was all very, you know, lovey-dovey. And the version that was brought out, it's okay, but there was a Tengen version, which is made by a subdivision of Atari, and there was all sorts of rigmarole about whether they had the rights to the game or not. And Nintendo, oh yeah, and it was a third-party game as well, so immediately, even though they had the rights to make the game, Nintendo basically said, no, you can't make this for our system, and there's all sorts of legal rigmarole, and the game was withdrawn. And I played it years later on one of these kind of Hong Kong Pirate 72-in-1 carts, and not really being a Nintendo owner, I saw 2 different versions of Tetris, and figured one was a knockoff, and one was the original, and I had them mixed up. The Tengen one is just flawless, and go have a look at it now, go on YouTube, whatever, have a look at it and see. It's just, the sound is better, it looks better, 2 players better, there's lots of different modes. The Tengen, or the BPS one, the Bulletproof Software one, which is the official one, he said in quotation marks, it's just not as good, it's just meh. And once you play the Tengen one, it's very hard to go back, and of course, good luck buying a copy on eBay because it's super, super rare. So there you go. So just to answer a question that nobody asked, favourite Nintendo game, Tengen Tetris. Least favourite Nintendo NES Entertainment System game is BPS Tetris. So there you go. That's my lot. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching.